Hey guys, welcome Game back today, bringing you a video for our weapon conversion series, and today we're going to be covering all of the MP5 builds that you can make in Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. So let's go ahead, I'll jump through all of these. We have, I think, around 6 or 7 of these in total, so we'll go through different variants. Unfortunately, there's no real actual weapon conversions in this game, but there is different builds and variations that you can make. So we'll go ahead and jump into that, show you all the different builds here for Black Ops Cold War. I'll also link down below the video I did for all the MP5 builds in Call of Duty Modern Warfare for the conversion series over there. So go ahead and check that out also down below in the description. And let's go ahead and jump right into it. So first off, we'll start here at the top. The MP5K is what this one is. You can see here, the MP5K, we have actually 2 different builds or variants of this weapon. So the MP5K is a short, compact version of the MP5. And now here, how we're going to build this first, let me go ahead and I'll take off the attachments quick. Very straightforward build here. But obviously we're going to want, first off, for the underbarrel, just going to throw on a standard foregrip. This is going to help with the horizontal recoil control. Now, mainly this is for cosmetic purposes. You'd be better off probably with something like a field agent, or maybe one of the other ones for movement speed overall, like the bruiser grip. But the field agent kind of gives us that standard MP5K type foregrip that comes built in with handguard of the weapon. Now, one thing you'll notice if we go ahead and put that on, that the barrel design for this is actually a little bit different. So here in game, it's more of an aftermarket handguard on this weapon. So you can see the barrel length still looks the same, but the handguard itself is more aftermarket. It has the rivets in there. It's a more open design on the handguard, so it's not the same as we're used to with the actual MP5K, but again, this is just an aftermarket handguard. So you can see there where the handguard is going to be replaced on the left and the right side versus the standard. It still has that nice little dip that comes down right below the barrel of the weapon there at the end of the handguard where that dips down, unlike the one we had in Modern Warfare with the MP5 there, which is really nice to see. So this is more accurate than the MP5K that we built in Modern Warfare. So we'll go ahead and put that on, and then the next attachment, MP5K, you can run it with a collapsible buttstock. It basically has this telescopic buttstock that can be collapsed or extended, so we'll collapse it here. This is going to assist with the sprint to fire speed, but that's really it. That's our MP5K. You can run this with the collapsed buttstock or the base buttstock, and obviously you can put on any other attachments you want with that, but this is the MP5K, the compact version of the weapon with that very short barrel length on the weapon. Now, I'll cover this probably more in depth with its own conversion video, but again, just high level, this is the MP5K here in Black Ops Cold War. Let's go ahead and jump out. Now we're going to run the MP5K PDW. So a little bit different of a design here. Again, still basically the MP5K. So what we're going to do here is we will go ahead and strip some of this down. Actually, I don't really think we need to strip it down for this particular series, but we'll go with the optic again. This is mainly just for cosmetic purposes. We're going to run the Quick Dot LED, just a standard red dot sight on this weapon. Gives you the 1.25 magnification on this, and you can see how it is equipped on there on top of the weapon. Looks really nice. I guess it goes more in line with what something would have looked like in the 80s, more so than some of the other optics here in the game. So that one looks really nice. Now we'll go with the base barrel again because we're running the MP5K. It still has that aftermarket handguard on there. Now for the body, just to spice this up a little bit, we'll go ahead and put on a steady aim laser to kind of make it look the part of an MP5K, a little bit more tactical version of the weapon. Now we'll go ahead and put that on. It's going to help with the hip fire accuracy by 15%. Now the underbarrel, again, same foregrip we use mainly for cosmetic purposes, but you can be better off statistically wise or with the in-game stats just by using any other handguard or underbarrel attachment probably. But we'll go with the standard foregrip there. And then the key attachment here really that separates this from the base MP5K for the PDW is going to be the stock option. So we can really run one of two. You can run the Duster stock, which is going to give you, again, a very similar looking stock. This is only going to help our slide speed, though, by 5%. But here, the Raider stock is going to assist with the sprint to fire time, as well as the aim walking movement speed. The cons are going to be the hip fire accuracy is going to decrease by 30%. So just keep that in mind there. And that is our MP5K PDW. You can see they're really nice looking, more tactical version essentially of the MP5K. But again, I'll probably cover this in its own conversion video down the road. That is our MP5K PDW. Next up, we'll look at the MP5A3. So again, with this one, what we have here, we'll go ahead for the barrel attachment. We're going to go with the 9.5 extended barrel. So this gives us kind of the rivets there in the handguard, as seen by some of the MP5A3s. And you can also run with You could run with the 9.5-inch Ranger for the handguard as well. Now, the difference in stats is going to be that the 9.5 Extended is going to increase your bullet velocity by 40%, whereas the Ranger will increase by 100%. So if you're going for in-game stats, you're going to want the Ranger. If you want to be more accurate, you could really go with either of these two would be your best option, either the 9.5 or the 9.5 Extended. So we'll go ahead and back out, and then really that's the only attachment for this one for the A3, because the A3 comes with a telescopic buttstock on there. So you can see here, really the only change you need to make is with a handguard. You can run one of those two. You already have the setup for the A3 with that telescopic buttstock there that will slide in and out there for the A3. Now the next build here is going to be the A2, and really it's the same thing. The only difference is going to be that you have the fixed stock option here with a tactical stock. So this is going to help out with your aim, walking, movement speed by 10% for this weapon. And then everything else is going to be the same for this one. The A2, we're going to be running the 9.5-inch Ranger, which goes more in line with what the A2 handguards look like on this weapon. And then we're just going to throw an optic on there just for tactical purposes. You can really customize it outside of this however you want. You could even go ahead and put on something like a steady aim laser for more hip fire speed. And you could even put on maybe an underbarrel attachment, something like the Bruiser Grip, to give you the mobility for the weapon. You can see that's our MP5 A2. Really no difference between the A3. Main difference here with this build is we're running a little bit different of a handguard, and we have the fixed buttstock here versus the telescopic buttstock for the A3. Really the only difference between the A2 and the A3. So let's go ahead and back out, and we'll go ahead and jump into the SD variant. So our MP5 SD2 here. Again, very similar to the A3 and the A2. What we're going to run here is for the muzzle, we're going to want the sound suppressor. This is going to give us the muzzle flash concealment by 100%. You could also run the agency suppressor here if you really wanted to, but for cosmetic purposes, I'm going to stick with the sound suppressor, but the agency suppressor may help you a little bit more statistically, except for the effective damage range is reduced. So you're almost better off with the standard sound suppressor because you're losing less effective damage range over the agency suppressor. So we'll go with the sound suppressor. Next up, you're going to combine that with the 9.5-inch Ranger barrel. So this one's going to assist with our bullet velocity by 100%, and our con is going to be the aim, walking, movement speed. It's going to be reduced by 25%. But you can see the combination of these two is going to give you the typical handguard for the SD series. You can see that riveted handguard as well as the suppressor there, the integrally suppressed part of the barrel here. So you can see if I were to deselect some of these and like go with any of these other handguards, you can see how some of these other ones look, right? A little awkward, but the 9.5-inch Ranger is really the one you want. Combined with the standard sound suppressor is going to give you that SD, the MP5 SD series look to it. Now, the only difference being that this is going to be the A2, so the MP5 SD2, the MP5 SD2, same as the A2, is going to have that fixed tactical stock, which is going to assist with the aim, walking, and movement speed. You could also go ahead and run the SAS combat stock if you really want it to perform maybe a little bit better. That's going to assist with the shooting movement speed by 5%. And the aim, walking, movement speed by 15%. So either of those two are really good options for this weapon. Next up, we'll go ahead and back out and we'll cover the MP5 SD3. So again, very similar design to the SD2. We're going to run the same sound suppressor and the same barrel. And other than that, that's really all you need. You can run with the basic buttstock on this because the only difference between the SD2 is going to have that fixed buttstock, and the SD3 is going to have the telescopic buttstock, where you can see there on the left and the right hand side there would just slide right on in and collapse completely. So you can see what that would look like if we go ahead and put a stock option for these on. We can go ahead and do the collapse buttstock here, and now you'll have a collapse buttstock version of the the SD2. So again, same exact design as the similar to the A2 and the A3. Differences with the SD series, we have the integrally suppressed barrels here, as we also have the differences with the buttstock. The same buttstock difference from the A2 and the A3 carries over to the SD2 and the SD3. So that's our SD series. Next up is the MP510. So this is a conversion I did in the Modern Warfare conversion series. However, in this game, we don't have an actual conversion because the ammo type remains still 9x19mm Parabellum, the same as it you come with in base here in Cold War, as well as the base ammo type for Modern Warfare, but cosmetically we can make it look like the MP510. The only difference is we don't have 10mm rounds. But let's go ahead with the optic again, mainly for cosmetic purposes. We can run something like the Hollow Scout optic. This is going to increase your zoom level by 1.75 magnification. Really just for cosmetic purposes. You can also run really anything here. It's really personal preference. Next up for the barrel design, again, we're going to run the same one we ran with the A2, and you could also run it with the A3. Is going to be that 9.5-inch Ranger barrel. That'll increase our bullet velocity by 100%. Let's go ahead and put that on, and then you can just look at some of the other options here. I mean, you could really run any of these. Really, personal preference how you want it to handle in your gameplay. But again, the Ranger barrel, more accurate to how the real-life version looked. Underbarrel, you don't necessarily need this. Again, this is mainly for cosmetic purposes. Make it look a little bit more tactical. We can throw any of these on. So here I'll just keep the foregrip on there. But again, you honestly might be a little better off with something like the Bruiser grip for movement speed. But again, really personal preference for the grip. Anyone is a good option. Now the magazine option is key here. So really, the 10mm rounds has this waffle type magazine. So you can run the 40 round magazine or even the 40 round Salvo magazine, which is the fast mag version. You can see that gives you the waffle type magazine that would come with the MP5-10 that would stack those 10mm rounds. So you can see the difference between a standard MP5 magazine here, this is a taped version, and the 40 rounds. So right, you have the curved versus the waffle magazine there. That would typically carry 10mm rounds in real life if it were actually be able to convert it to the 10mm rounds for the MP5-10. So you'll see that in Modern Warfare. You can convert the 10mm rounds, and that's exactly what the magazine looks like. Next up for the stock, again, we'll run that fixed butt stock here for the tactical stock. You could also run the SAS combat stock. Either or would be a good option. The tactical stock, again, will give you the aim, walking, movement speed, and the SAS combat stock will give you the shooting movement speed and the aim, walking movement speed increase. Cons are going to be the hip-fire accuracy with this one, so you're probably a little bit better off with the tactical stock here. You don't lose that hip-fire accuracy. But that's really it for this. This is the MP5-10. Again, just unfortunately we don't have the 10mm conversion, but you can see there on the mag well there right above where the magazine is, you can see Cal, which is German, and then 9mm by 19mm for the caliber that this weapon is. So if it were an MP5-10, it would basically change the lower, and this would be a 10mm rifle instead of a 9mm rifle. Or a submachine gun, I should say. But those are all of our MP5 builds here. We already covered the A2. So just to recap, we have the MP5K with that aftermarket handguard here. And again, we are throwing on just that foregrip for cosmetic purposes to make it look like the built-in foregrip that comes with the base MP5K. We have the collapsible buttstock on this as well. You can also run with the base buttstock if you wanted, so that it's not collapsed. Either or is good for the MP5K. Next up, the MP5K PDW. So again, really the same exact build as we did with the MP5K. We're just throwing on the different buttstock on this one, and then we can make it look a little bit more tactical with the lasers and the optics on there as well. But you can see the stock here. You can go with either the Raider stock or even the Duster stock. I'm going to give you the very similar looks here for the MP5K PDW. Then we have the MP5A3. So again, really no difference here. We're just changing the barrel of the weapon to the extended to give us that riveted handguard there, and we're leaving the base collapsible buttstock for the A3. The A2 is going to be the exact same thing. We're just running... Oh, here we go. The A2 is going to be the same thing. We're just running a little bit different of a barrel. We're running the 9.5-inch Ranger, but you could really do either or with a 9.5 extended. And then we're running that fixed buttstock. Is really the only difference that from the A3 to the A2 is that difference between the fixed buttstock and the collapsible buttstock. Next up, we have the SD2. So the SD2, again, these are the integrally suppressed weapons for the SD series. So the SD2 is going to have the muzzle and the barrel as well as the fixed stock option. The SD3 is going to be the exact same, but with the base stock option for the collapsible buttstock. And here you can see I put on the collapsible buttstock as we showed to show that you can either have the base stock option or the collapsible one. Still an SD3, and then our MP5-10. So those are all of our builds here. I think honestly, I really like the SD3 and the MP5K PDW. I think these look like cosmetically the best in the game. I like the look of this PDW version as well with that buttstock. It looks really nice. And you can see there it would fold to the side of the rifle, which is actually pretty cool. Looks nice. Really more of a nice tactical build here. But let me know down below what you guys think. What is your favorite build for the MP5 series here in Black Ops Cold War? I'll leave you guys with that. Till next time, this is Buffin Gaming with all the MP5 builds for Black Ops Cold War. Till next time, Buffin Gaming.